The Buddha taught that human happiness does not come from seizing things, nor from complaining. It is not that you simply ask and it will appear. It begins from a principle that is simple yet profound. Sow good seeds, and you will reap good fruits. Looking around at life, each of us longs to live in peace, to have everything go smoothly. If difficulties arise, we hope to meet benefactors, and if calamities come, they will be lightened. But why are some people always fortunate, welcomed wherever they go, while others meet obstacles as if the whole world had turned its back on them? This is not accidental. It all has causes in the blessings they have sown and the virtue they have cultivated. Blessing and good fortune are not innate gifts handed to us by someone. They do not sit fixed in our fate. They are closely tied to each person's traits, actions, and even the smallest habits. The way we treat others, how we respond to difficulties, and whether we plant a wholesome or unwholesome thought in daily life all create an unseen current that guides destiny. Those who live with compassion and help others naturally gather blessings around them. Those who are stingy, selfish, and habitually complain see their blessings steadily dwindle, and it is no wonder they stumble wherever they go. The ancients said 3 parts of fate and 7 parts are effort. The 3 parts of fate may be the starting conditions we are born with: family circumstances, health, innate intelligence. But the other 7 parts are how we live, the cause and effect we create throughout our lives. Those 7 parts matter far more because we can actively cultivate them. They are healthy habits, a gentle temperament, and moral qualities nurtured over the years. When a person trains themselves to be compassionate, keeps a peaceful mind, speaks wholesome words, and does good, blessings will thicken of themselves, and the path of life will grow broader. Observe the people around you. Some do not need to show off. Their mere presence radiates calm and harmony. Beside them we feel light and at ease. That is a sign of blessings made visible. Others, though very successful, always wear tense faces and eyes laden with suspicion. Being near them feels tiring. That proves that blessings do not arise from money or status, but from the heart and the way one lives. In today's society, whenever we fail or life does not go our way, everything seems unfair. We wonder why some people who seem to make little effort still succeed at work, have warm families, and are liked wherever they go, while others toil every day, yet face thorns and trials, one setback after another. We naturally ask why their blessings are so abundant while ours seem so few. Buddhism makes it clear. Happiness is not a random gift that falls from the sky, nor is it wish and you shall receive. Happiness is the result of an entire way of living in which every wholesome thought and deed becomes a seed planted in the soil of cause and effect. Those who give rise to loving kindness, who care for others and act rightly, may not see results immediately, but blessings quietly accumulate until when conditions ripen, they blossom into the fruits of peace and joy. In truth, a person's blessings lie in how they live each day. They are not bestowed by others and cannot be begged for. They are the inevitable result of cause and effect. One who lives with compassion, filial piety, and honesty will naturally enjoy sufficiency and ease. Not because the gods show favoritism, but because the seeds they have sown are bearing fruit. Conversely, one who habitually complains and resents, whose heart is full of jealousy, is effectively closing the door to their own blessings. In the sutras, the Buddha clearly points out that those with great blessings usually possess 4 great virtues. These 4 virtues are not lofty or distant. They can be cultivated in everyday life. If a person steadfastly keeps, these 4 blessings will follow them for life, and their family will also benefit. If they gradually lose them, blessings will be depleted, and even if they hold much wealth, it will not endure. So what are these 4 virtues? And you, in this life, how many of them are you nurturing? The first virtue is generosity and forbearance. In Buddhism, Maitreya Bodhisattva is regarded as the embodiment of tolerance and magnanimity. A person with a generous heart sees life with understanding and a compassionate mind. They do not nitpick others' small faults, nor do they brood long over things contrary to their wishes. Such people naturally wear a serene face. Their countenance shines and their blessings grow thicker by the day. The Buddha taught that a tolerant mind is like the ocean. It can receive myriad streams and thus nourish all life. By contrast, a narrow mind is like a shallow well. It holds only a little and easily runs dry and dark. Life is full of trials and comings, and goings are hard to predict. If we cling to resentment and keep every irritation in our hearts, we are tying ourselves to suffering. The more one nitpicks, the more haggard the face becomes. The more generous one is, the brighter the appearance. When the mind is at peace, the features are at peace. The ancients said, "A broad belly bears great blessings. A narrow heart thins them." Forbearance not only beautifies one's inner life, it also creates a field of wholesome energy that makes those around feel at ease and want to draw near. In reality, many people fall ill as they age, not only because of the body, but because their hearts are heavy with blame. If we can let go a little and be more forgiving, our hearts will naturally feel lighter. Our bodies will be healthier, and blessings will show themselves. Those with open hearts who can smile away small slights often receive help from benefactors because they radiate warmth that inspires affection in everyone they meet. In social relationships, disagreement is inevitable, for each person has their own view, circumstances, and habits. When conflicts arise, if everyone stubbornly defends their stance, the flames only rise and the distance widens. By contrast, those with forbearance choose to step back so the waves can settle. As the saying goes, endure a moment, and the winds and waves grow calm. Take one step back, and the sea and sky open wide. Patience is not weakness. It is the expression of wisdom and compassion. In Buddhist teaching, Maitreya Bodhisattva symbolizes a magnanimous heart. He always smiles with joy, and his great belly can contain the world. Seeing someone's mistake, he does not condemn but uses love to transform. Maitreya's smile is not a mocking laugh. It is a selfless smile that lessens human suffering. That image is a great lesson. The more tolerant one is, the thicker the blessings. The more one nitpicks, the more blessings are wasted. When we are generous, we free not only others but ourselves. Hatred is like a flame that burns the heart, while forbearance is like cool water that gradually extinguishes it. Those who live with forbearance often have many good friends and sound relationships because they make others feel safe, respected, and understood. That is the root of lasting affection and the spreading of blessings. True nobility is not money or status, but the quality that radiates from within. Those with compassionate hearts, even in poverty, earn the respect of others. That nobility brings enduring blessings that accompany them throughout life and are passed on to their children and grandchildren. Those who are tolerant bring ease wherever they go. They do not hold on to petty matters or brood over others' mistakes. Because of this, their features are serene and their bearing radiant, making everyone who meets them feel light at heart. The ancients said, "A tolerant heart is a person's treasure." Whoever takes tolerance as their root can turn enemies into friends and turn adversity into a favorable condition. In Buddhist teaching, tolerance is a concrete expression of compassion. When we forgive and let go, we free ourselves from the chains of resentment. Resentment is like a stone tied to the heart. The longer we hold it, the heavier it becomes. Once we release it, the heart immediately grows light. When the mind becomes light, blessings naturally appear. A tolerant person needs few words. Their compassionate bearing alone is enough to move heaven and earth and to make everything around them grow harmonious. Tolerance does not mean condoning what is wrong. It means using wisdom to see more broadly and more deeply, to recognize that each person carries their own habits and circumstances. Rather than blaming, we learn to understand so that our hearts become less narrow. One who can endure and be tolerant is sowing wholesome causes and will sooner or later reap the fruits of peace. That is why Buddhism honors tolerance as a wellspring of abundant merit. From tolerance, all wholesome affinities arise. Tolerance is a virtue as precious as jade that only those with vast compassionate hearts can truly keep. When matters reach an impasse, the tolerant person knows to step back and change course, turning a relationship that seemed fractured into one that feels close again. They do not strive to win small disputes, for they understand that winning an argument does not mean winning hearts. Winning hearts is the truest victory. The scriptures say that tolerance is the seed of great loving kindness and great compassion. A tolerant person not only gives others a chance, but also opens a new path for themselves. When we forgive, we put down the burden in our hearts, and blessings arise accordingly. Tolerance not only unties knots in relationships, but also purifies our own hearts so that we can live more lightly and more joyfully. Sadly, most of us seek happiness in faraway places, hoping for a miracle or an external change, while forgetting that happiness is made by ourselves. If each day we remind ourselves to be more tolerant than yesterday, and to live more simply and purely than yesterday, blessings will naturally grow and happiness will manifest. One who lives with tolerance without demanding and without nitpicking has blessings like cool water that flow without end. The second virtue is to keep the mind pure and free of envy. The scriptures say that when the mind is pure, the Buddha realm is pure. This means that to live in peace, we must first keep our hearts pure. A pure mind is not only refraining from wrongdoing, but also letting go of jealous, comparative, and envious thoughts. One with a clean heart rejoices in others' success and blesses their happiness because they know that others' good fortune does not diminish their own. On the contrary, it is a reminder to strive to plant more wholesome causes. Envy is like drinking poison while hoping others will suffer. Those who cling to jealousy view life through a narrow gaze and bring restlessness upon themselves. They cannot rejoice in others' joy and cannot fully enjoy their own happiness. Therefore, the Buddha taught that if we wish to accumulate blessings, we must learn to praise others' virtues and accomplishments, taking them as a mirror for learning and for building ourselves. In life, everyone has their own share of blessings. Some are blessed in family, some in career, and some in wisdom. If we can dwell contentedly within our portion of blessings and continue to sow good causes, our merit will thicken. If we only compare and complain, we turn ourselves into the poor in spirit. One who keeps a pure mind, free of envy, is flinging open the door for blessings to come. For such a mind is as clear as a stream that grows ever more refreshing as it flows. No one is born complete, and no one is bound to live in resentment and envy forever. Envy is like a hidden flame smoldering in the heart. The more we feed it, the more it burns away our peace. One who harbors envy, even with great wealth, finds it hard to know joy, for, in their eyes, everyone is above them, and everything others possess is something to measure against. The more one measures, the more suffering and anxiety there are. In Buddhist teaching, envy is regarded as a root of suffering. Jealousy easily gives rise to anger, and anger easily turns into harmful speech, harsh and wrongful words meant to belittle others. Worse still, envy can ferment into rancor that drives reckless actions, harming others and oneself, thereby creating more karmic obstacles that consume blessings and make life's path even more rugged. By contrast, when we can rejoice in others' success, we plant a wholesome seed. Rejoicing takes nothing from us, but widens the heart and helps us see that blessings are always present around us. One who can be glad for another's joy is truly wealthy, for they have conquered their own envy. That is the key that thickens blessings day by day. People are often swept into endless comparisons. Seeing someone more beautiful, we feel inferior. Seeing someone wealthy, we grow dissatisfied. Seeing friends happy, we give rise to jealousy. That vicious cycle keeps the heart unsettled, always suspicious, never able to rest in the present. The Buddha taught that the most pitiable state in life is self-contempt, and the greatest sorrow is envy. Those who despise themselves do not believe in their own ability, and those who envy do not know how to rejoice in others' joy. Both lose the chance to savor true happiness. When envy arises, we tend to view life through a narrow lens, always imagining ourselves disadvantaged and others as receiving more. In truth, every success and happiness others enjoy comes from the effort and wholesome causes they have planted. They may have endured hardships we never saw and paid in sweat, labor, and even tears to arrive at today. If we only sit and complain, and compare, we will not move forward, and our hearts will grow ever smaller while our blessings are steadily depleted. The wise, instead of envying, choose to learn. When they see others succeed, they take it as motivation. When they see others happy, they give their blessings. Only then does the mind remain pure and merit can be cultivated. True happiness does not come from comparison but from contentment, appreciation, and wholeheartedly planting wholesome causes in one's own life. The Buddha taught that if we wish to find genuine happiness, we must learn to rejoice, that is, to take joy in the success, blessings, and happiness of others. I have adjusted punctuation, line breaks, paragraphing, and corrected basic spelling errors while keeping the original meaning. Below is the cleaned version. When we rejoice, we are helping to plant more blessings for ourselves. Life is inherently impermanent, and each of us only lodges briefly in this human world. Why then should we harbor jealousy that makes both sides suffer? Instead of nurturing resentment and creating further enmity, we can choose love, empathy, and to walk this life together in peace. The Buddha taught that the greatest affliction of the human heart is jealousy and envy. Those who harbor jealousy and rivalry suffer continually within. Indeed, envy never brings anything good. It only weighs the mind down, robs people of clarity, and can even turn into anger, harmful speech, and wrongful actions that cause suffering to oneself and to others. To escape that prison, only we can help ourselves. As the Buddha likened it, the one who unties the bell must be the one who tied it. If our hearts are bound tightly by envy, then we ourselves must loosen the knot with compassion, understanding, rejoicing, and contentment. When we do, the mind naturally becomes serene, and life naturally grows peaceful. Those who can look upon others with loving eyes and smile at their achievements are quietly accumulating blessings for themselves and for future generations. The third virtue is to live with contentment, without extravagance or waste. Throughout life's journey, contentment is the key that opens the door to peace. From birth, we are driven by craving. Some crave material things, others crave power, fame, or affection. That craving ensures we never feel satisfied, like one who drinks seawater and only grows thirstier. It is the root of suffering. The Buddha taught one who knows contentment, even lying on the ground, still enjoys peace. One who does not know contentment, even dwelling in heaven, remains dissatisfied. This saying is a torch that lights the way for us all. The blessings we enjoy in this life are in truth determined by causes and conditions from the past. Every coin, every bowl of rice, every warm place to sit is the result of wholesome or unwholesome seeds we have sown. If we fail to appreciate them and instead indulge in extravagance, those blessings are like water in a bowl and will sooner or later run dry. By contrast, those who cherish each blessing, use it rightly, and share with others find that their blessings are like a spring that grows fuller the more it is drawn. Life is impermanent. Happiness is not always in lofty things, but may be found in a simple meal with family, a restful sleep after a long day, a sympathetic glance in a hard moment. One who knows contentment easily recognizes happiness in such small things. One who does not know contentment feels lacking no matter how much they have, always measuring and dissatisfied. That suffering does not come from circumstances, but from the mind. In reality, many people reach midlife with wealth and status, yet remain deeply uneasy. They chase new desires, shop without pause, and spend without limit. Yet at night, they still feel empty inside. That is the consequence of not knowing contentment. Conversely, there are people who labor simply and live on modest wages, but their hearts are light because they are content with food and clothing. Rejoice in a child's smile and value health and time. These are the truly wealthy, for wealth is not about how much one has, but whether the heart finds enough. The ancients said that the greedy are often poor, while the content are often rich. This is not empty talk, but a truth tested over generations. The greedy, even with a vault of gold, fear loss and crave more, so their hearts are always impoverished. The content, even with only a small garden stroll at ease, smile and feel complete. Buddhist teaching also makes clear that living with contentment is a way to cultivate the mind. Those who know contentment can discern what should be done and do it, and what should not be done and avoid it. Their hearts hold no place for rivalry or envy because they understand that each person has their own share of blessings and no one can seize another's merit. Thus, they preserve a mind that is pure, steady, and simple. When the mind is pure, life naturally becomes peaceful. Contentment is also a path to transform suffering. Those who know contentment do not chase after desires or fall for empty fame, so they can readily let go of anger, practice forgiveness, and share with others. When we can release, the heart grows light. When we can forgive, the mind rests in peace. Happiness, then, is no longer distant but present in each moment of daily life. A story in the scriptures tells of a king who was very rich, yet constantly feared losing his throne and his treasure. In the same country lived a poor farmer with only a thatched hut, who after working in the fields each day ate simple greens with rice and sang cheerfully. Puzzled, the king asked, "How can you be so happy when you are so poor?" The farmer replied, "I am content with rice and greens, and I rejoice in each new day, so I feel rich." Hearing this, the king fell silent, realizing that no amount of gold can purchase peace of mind. So it is for us today. Many refuse to live in the present, always gazing at distant hills. Seeing others with grand houses and fine cars, they grow discontent, forgetting that they already have a warm home that shields them from sun and rain, and a family that loves them. Seeing others with fame, they feel inferior, forgetting that they have health and time to create blessings. This craving and comparison obscure the happiness already at hand and make us suffer amid abundance. The Buddha taught that those who know contentment are the richest of all. Contentment does not mean stopping or failing to strive. It means appreciating what we have so that we can move forward with mindfulness. The contents still work and strive, but they do so with joy, not resentment or envy. They smile in the face of difficulty, find a fitting path, and live in harmony. Let us look at ourselves. Do we measure and compare each day, or do we practice gratitude? Do we squander time and money, or do we preserve and use them rightly? The answers reveal whether our blessings are growing thicker or thinner. Those who live wastefully and lavishly only create more negative karma. Those who live simply and know contentment see their blessings deepen day by day. Keeping the mind pure, steady, and simple, we will see life change from struggle into sharing, from anger into forgiveness, from suffering into joy. Then happiness is no longer something to search for far away, but blossoms right in the present moment. One who knows contentment looks at life with understanding, lives with gratitude, and nurtures positive seeds so that each day has meaning and each breath is precious. Blessings therefore grow, and destiny therefore brightens. Blessings are not bestowed on us by anyone, but are planted by ourselves. Destiny is not dictated by blind fate, but by each thought and each action of our own. Remember this: blessings are created by oneself. Suffering is caused by oneself, and happiness is found only by oneself. The final virtue is filial piety and helping others. The ancients said, "Of the 100 virtues, filial piety comes first, because among all the bonds of affection in this world, the debt to our parents is the greatest and beyond compare. Parents are the ones who brought us into this world and gave us our bodies, our breath, our blood, and the long years of hard upbringing. A father's merit is like Mount Tai, and a mother's love is like water from the source. Mountains can be measured and seas can be counted, but a parent's love never ends." The Buddha taught that even if one were to carry one's father on one shoulder and one's mother on the other, and travel across all the lands, seas, and forests for countless years until their bodies are worn with age, one still could not repay that deep debt. Filial piety is therefore not only a responsibility or a duty, but a noble practice and the foundation of blessings in life. Those who are filial are naturally protected by heaven and earth and sheltered by heavenly beings. Filial devotion is a fundamental human principle and the root of all goodness. Parents are the greatest blessing in each person's life. While they are alive, we still have a place to return to and a refuge to lean on. When they pass away, even gold and riches cannot fill the emptiness. To care for one's parents and to live with filial respect is the simplest yet most sublime way to accumulate merit, better than 1,000 acts of worship offered to gods and Buddhas without sincerity. In this world, filial reverence is a current that flows straight from human beings to moral truth and to the way of heaven. Time is indifferent. As a child's youth draws farther away, the springtime of the parents also fades. As the child grows day by day, the parents grow old day by day. Seeing a father's white hair and a mother's bent back, we feel deeply that impermanence waits for no one. A filial child repays not only with material things, but more importantly by listening and putting their parents at ease. A gentle word and a respectful smile can be more precious than a grand feast. In Buddhist teaching, parents are likened to living Buddhas in the home. To offer a bowl of rice when they are hungry or a cup of tea when they are tired carries greater merit than offerings to hundreds of thousands of monks. Why is this so? Because parents are the nearest field of merit, the place where we can sow seeds in this very life without searching far. Those who practice filial piety, even if they never go to a temple, are steadily planting blessings. A decent person may be strict with themselves, but they will never treat their parents poorly. They know that a father's sigh and a mother's tear drain one's own store of merit. Conversely, a father's satisfied smile and a mother's proud praise are the source of virtue passed down to one's descendants. To live with filial piety not only brings happiness to parents now, but sets an example for children to follow. Families with a tradition of filial respect tend to flourish, and their blessings extend through many generations. Beyond devotion to parents, one should also broaden the heart to help others. This too is the virtue of those rich in merit. The ancients said, "Those who live kindly meet good fortune." One who is compassionate, ready to help without seeking reward, accumulates merit that grows day by day. In real life, many who help others throughout their lives naturally meet benefactors when hardship comes. This is not random luck, but cause and effect made visible. Helping others is in truth helping oneself. When we stretch out a hand to lift someone who has fallen, we plant a wholesome seed so that when we ourselves fall, someone will reach out to lift us. The one who helps us then may not be the person we once helped, but it will be the result of the good causes we planted. Benefactors in life do not descend from nowhere. They are the fruit of the good we do today. There are times when life drives us into a corner, and a word of comfort or a small act of help is enough to raise us up. Therefore, when we receive help, we must be grateful. Gratitude not only ennobles character, but also completes the circle of cause and effect. A sincere thank you and an act of repayment are ways to plant more wholesome causes so that blessings grow thicker. The ungrateful will sooner or later lose the support of others. The grateful, even in difficulty, will always find people willing to help. In this society, no one is obliged to help us except our parents and sometimes close kin. Therefore, when someone reaches out, we must value it. Never take help for granted. What seems obvious today will become a loss tomorrow if we are indifferent. Human relationships are reciprocal. Only with give and take do hearts find satisfaction. More deeply, gratitude is the foundation that makes relationships endure. The Buddha taught that a grateful person will not be poor, for gratitude is among the noblest qualities. Those who are grateful naturally draw blessings near, because they keep a wholesome heart and do not forget the kindness of others. The ungrateful easily become isolated, and even with wealth, cannot keep happiness. There is a story from the Buddha's time about a poor man named Phwok. One day, seeing the venerable Shariputra on alms round, he did not hesitate to offer his last handful of rice. The venerable one gladly accepted it. In a later life, this man was reborn into wealth and abundance. A small deed, a heart ready to share, and the blessings were so great. This shows that helping others is the fastest way to accumulate merit, and gratitude is the surest way to preserve it. Those rich in merit never live selfishly, thinking only of themselves. They know that human life is like a river. The more water that is shared, the clearer and more abundant the current becomes. Those who keep everything for themselves turn the river into a stagnant pond that will soon dry up. Helping others opens a flow of blessings for oneself. A benevolent person meets good, even without asking for it. A selfish person, even if wealthy, rarely finds peace. Therefore, among the 4 virtues that build great merit, filial piety and helping others are the roots. Filial devotion is the root of the way, and benevolence is the root of virtue. Whoever nurtures these 2 roots will naturally live in peace, their family will naturally prosper, and their descendants will naturally inherit deep blessings. Blessings do not fall from the sky. They are planted every day by our own hands and hearts. A human life may be long, but it is only like a cloud's shadow passing across the sky. All fame, wealth, and status eventually turn to dust. What remains in the end is not how much we amassed, but how we lived, what we left to the world, and what we made of our own hearts. The 4 virtues of filial piety, tolerance, purity of mind, and contentment are the path that carries us peacefully through this life and leaves a legacy of blessings for generations to come. Filial piety is the root. Whoever still has parents should honor and care for them. Do not wait until one day you look back with regret. Filial devotion not only brings a smile to your parents' faces, it also lightens your own heart and naturally gives rise to blessings. For parents are living Buddhas in this world. A single stick of incense offered to one's parents is more precious than 10,000 empty prayers. Tolerance is a pair of wings. When we know how to forgive, to open our hearts, and to place ourselves in another's pain, our own hearts become spacious and free of resentment. A person can accomplish great things not because of how talented they are, but because they are tolerant enough to embrace what is contrary and large-hearted enough to unite and build. Purity of mind is a lamp. In this dusty world, if we can keep the mind clear, not covered by greed, anger, and delusion, we are like one who holds a torch in the night. Wherever we go, it lights our own steps and also lights the way for others. A pure mind is the foundation of all merit, for when the mind is pure, the realm becomes pure. Contentment is a treasure. Those who crave never find happiness because they always feel lacking. Those who are content may live simply, yet their hearts are full. A bowl of hot rice, a peaceful home, and a harmonious family are already great blessings. Contentment is the key that opens the door to serenity and the source of true happiness. When we bring these 4 virtues together, we see that filial piety nourishes the roots, tolerance spreads the branches, purity of mind becomes the flowers, and contentment ripens into fruit. A life that holds these 4 is like a great tree beneath the sky roots, firm branches, outstretched fragrant blossoms, and sweet fruit. Not only does the person enjoy peace, but their children and grandchildren also rest in the cool shade of those blessings. Therefore, let us not search for blessings far away. Blessings lie in the small deeds of daily life. A bowl of rice offered to one's parents, a word of forgiveness for another, a wholesome thought, a smile of contentment, all are seeds sown in the field of our own merit. When time has passed, we will harvest a season of peace, happiness, and calm. This is a heartfelt reminder. Live with filial piety. Live with tolerance. Keep the mind pure and know contentment. These are the 4 steps that bring us closer to happiness, and the 4 lamps that light a human life in this impermanent world. Those who possess 3 features on the face that reveal later good fortune will surely receive the Buddha's protection. Life will be peaceful and happy with the family, and blessings will abound. The Buddha taught that appearance is born from the mind, and circumstances follow karma. This means that what we see on a person's face is not only the form given by their parents, but a countenance that has been shaped over the years by every thought, word, and deed they have planted. One whose inner being is kind and whose thoughts are wholesome will naturally have eyes that shine gently, a smile that is soft, and a face that grows bright and approachable. This is not worldly beauty, but a quality that makes others want to trust, lean on, and stay close. In Buddhism, it is often said that a blessed person may not be dazzlingly beautiful, yet they certainly radiate a lovable, endearing charm. That charm cannot be painted on or applied with cosmetics. It can only emanate from a heart that has learned to be tolerant, patient, and harmless to others. So we look at features in order to understand the mind and to reflect on ourselves, not to rank high or low, or to compare and compete. Today's appearance can change if tomorrow's mind and conduct are corrected and rightly nourished. Some people struggle in their youth and face many hardships, yet as they grow and live more virtuously, their faces become gentle and serene, like a flower blooming after rain. This is the mark of blessing and goodness, often mentioned in the Buddhist scriptures, a sign of one who has planted many good roots in the past and continues to cultivate merit in the present. Those who possess the following 3 features on the face are usually the ones who sooner or later will be protected by the Buddha, favored by heaven, and guided by life towards safe and restful shores with a peaceful family. The first feature that often appears in those with abundant blessings and a peaceful later life is the eyes. Eyes are not only for seeing, but for reflecting the inner being. Some people need not say a word, yet a gentle sky opens when you look into their eyes. Others speak skillfully and appear amiable, but their eyes reveal calculation and rivalry, which instinctively makes others guarded. In Buddhism, the eyes are not merely a biological organ, but a gateway to the mind. As the mind is, so are the eyes. One who keeps a kind heart free of jealousy and unkind anger naturally has eyes that carry warmth. That warmth does not come from bodily heat, but from compassion arising in the heart. People with gentle eyes usually live decently, think of others, are not quick to anger, and do not let worldly affairs disturb their hearts. Such eyes are gentle when looking at people, insightful when looking at life, and tolerant when looking back at oneself. There is no nitpicking there, no prying or idle curiosity, but a quietness like a lake without ripples. Through those eyes one can sense peace, trustworthiness, and a lifetime of quiet cultivation without boasting or display. Those who have such eyes usually do not chase after glitter or scramble for gain. They choose a quiet, kind, and simple life. That very simplicity is the foundation for heaven's favor, the Buddha's protection, and the steady return of blessings. Some wonder why they live kindly, yet have not seen blessings arrive. Sometimes, looking into one's own eyes each day can reveal the answer. When the mind is not yet awake, the gaze still wavers. When the heart has not settled, the look is still hurried. Only when we learn to live slowly enough, deeply enough, and lovingly enough with a centered heart do the eyes begin to see with wisdom, and not only with sight. Only then does life begin to transform karma, begin to quiet, and blessings find a place to bloom even from the eyes themselves. The second feature found in those richly blessed, protected by the Buddha, and secure in later life is the smile. A smile is the mark of a heart that has passed through many sufferings and still chooses to be gentle with the world. Not everyone can keep a smile when facing the ups and downs of life, and fewer still can smile at what goes against their wishes. Only those who deeply understand impermanence, who have loosened their demands, and who have learned to be content with the present, can smile in a way that is sincere, plain, and unforced. That smile is not overly radiant or loud, but quiet, like a flower blooming on the plain, after rain, like a gentle morning sun. It is the smile of one who is grateful for life, who loves others, and who keeps the heart from becoming a storehouse of anger. A person with such a smile warms others, even without many words. In Buddhism, a soft smile is also a way of bestowing blessings, a spreading of compassion, an expression of a mind no longer swept up by the whirlwinds of gossip and contention. There are those who in youth were curt and preoccupied with gain, yet after a long journey of awakening, learning patience, and learning to love, their smile is gradually nurtured, becoming tranquil, deep, and gentle. There are also those born with a tender smile on their lips, but if the mind is unwholesome and the words unkind, that smile is only a veneer covering inner calculation. A smile can be seen, but its root lies in the mind. One whose mind is pure, free of scrambling and envy, naturally bears a smile like a light breeze, like a cool stream that soothes the hearts of others. Such people often live long and well, with fewer illnesses and fewer troubles, because their hearts are light and no longer tangled. They do not need to try to win favor, for they are lovable by nature. They do not need to pose as virtuous, for each word they speak is already a blessing. They do not need to beg anything of life, for life has long since returned good things to them. Blessing comes from a sincere smile, for it shows that one has enough love, enough understanding, and enough strength to pass through pain without letting the heart turn hard. Such a person will surely receive the Buddha's protection, for their mind has become a refuge for themselves and for those around them. The third feature, often found in those with a restful later life favored by heaven and blessed by the Buddha, is the brow. A gentle, harmonious brow is the sign of protection in one's features. The brow is where wisdom gathers, reflecting a lucid inner life and symbolizing the serenity of a human lifespan. In the Buddhist view, the brow is not only outward form but a bright field of wholesome karma, a place where light appears. When one lives reasonably, understands what is right, and quietly practices virtue without seeking reward, a brow free of scowls and frowns is the mark of a soul that has learned to let go and not clutch sorrows in the heart. Those with wide, clear brows are typically honest, value their word, and do nothing underhanded. They face mistakes, accept loss when necessary, and do not let anger steer their actions. Such a brow is not an inborn gift, but the result of a mind trained over years of decency, patience, and refusal to quarrel with life. Some were once irritable, impulsive, and quick to anger, their brows always knotted as if carrying a sky full of worry. After practice and learning to keep a still mind amid noise, the brow gradually relaxes, grows brighter, more pleasing, and more at peace. A gentle brow makes one easy to live with, easy to converse with, and easy to love. Such people do not seek to overpower others, nor do they let themselves be dragged into needless disputes. They keep a simple life, a generous outlook, and a constant wish for others to be safe and well. In this way, they accumulate merit through humility, nourish virtue through patience, and live a life that may not always overflow with material wealth, but is rich in love and inner peace. On such a face, the brow does not merely hold the wrinkles of time. It is a bright field of wisdom and an open gate through which blessings flow. There, heaven sees a person whose goodness merits protection, whose kindness merits guidance, whose steadiness will not be swept away by the waves of worldly karma. One who has such a brow carries wholesome energy wherever they go. Whoever they meet, they leave a mark of calm. However turbulent life may be, they eventually set foot on a shore where the inner storms subside. These three features may seem like outward signs, but in truth, they are the fruits of a long training of the heart, a life of quiet virtue without demanding recognition, years of patience without complaint. They come from each choice to forgive, rather than resist, to endure, rather than flare up, to pause before speaking a word that might wound. Gentle eyes are the result of a heart that has learned to see life with wisdom instead of prejudice. A soft smile is the sign of a soul that knows how to let go so as not to carry suffering into tomorrow. A broad, unknotted brow shows a person who no longer lives in haste, anger, and rivalry. These three things cannot be faked, painted on, or learned overnight. They must be slowly forged and watered daily with good deeds, mindfulness, and true loving kindness. Some are born with these traits but fail to preserve them, so over the years their merit wanes and their features fade. Others were stubborn, rough, and ignorant in youth, but after awakening they return to the true path, and gradually blessings ripen, karma quiets. The face transforms from heaviness to peace, from tension to kindness. So not everyone who has these three features will keep them to the end of life, and not everyone who lacks them today will lack them forever. Each person can change their features. Each person can walk the path back to a face of blessing and eyes of compassion. We need only live a little more slowly, watch our minds a little more, and curb hasty reactions. Learn to be silent when angry and to smile when there is nothing more to say. Learn to let the heart rest when the world is in turmoil. When we truly turn inward to correct our mental actions, our features naturally change, our speech changes, and our destiny begins to turn toward a clearer, kinder direction. Gentle eyes attract kind people. A tender smile spreads good affinities. A clear, unburdened brow opens auspicious opportunities for both life and spirit. This is how blessings blossom, when the mind changes, how heaven's kindness arrives. when the heart softens, how the Buddha's protection appears, when it is clear that one no longer fights life but begins to live in accord with the law of cause, and effect slow enough to see what to keep and what to let go. And when one lives in this way, blessings come of themselves without being sought. Peace arises of itself without being prayed for. Loved ones without being held onto naturally become harmonious. The family without preaching naturally grows happier, warmer, and gentler in a manner that is unshowy yet complete from within. Some people spend their whole lives searching for blessings in lofty places, while what they truly need is already shimmering in their own eyes, smile and bearing. Day after day, some believe that to receive the Buddha's protection, they must recite many sutras, make great offerings and practice with strict form, forgetting that the deepest foundation of a blessed life is a kind inner heart, a patient spirit, and a way of living that harms no one. Blessings do not lie in vows, but in the way one lives. The Buddha is not far above, but present in each compassionate look, in each gentle smile, in each brow no longer tightly knit. In truth, the blessed person is not the one who has much, but the one who lives with enough. One receives the Buddha's protection not for skillful pleading, but for living by right principles. Perhaps we have nothing remarkable, yet are not in a position to help others, and do not know much scripture. But if we begin by living decently, keeping honest words, loving quietly, and letting go of anger in silence, then little by little blessings will gather like drops that quietly fill a lake. When they are sufficient, they will naturally blossom. That is when people look into our eyes and feel peace, hear our voice and feel warmed, live beside us, and feel their burdens lighten. That is when, without many words, a single smile can make others believe in goodness. A single glance can soothe a heart. A single silence can dissolve countless things not worth saying. The Buddha has never chosen anyone for special protection. It is simply that when someone's inner being is still enough, and their heart and conduct wholesome enough, that protection naturally appears like clouds meeting a fair wind, like a seed meeting good soil and sprouting. When we can live like that, not only do blessings come, peace comes as well. Not only does our own life grow peaceful, but those around us share in that energy. In the end, the most precious thing does not lie in how the face looks, but in a heart that has learned to soften amid hardness, to step back amid the shove of life, and to keep goodness even when no one knows. Such a person does not need to search for the Buddha. The Buddha has long been present within them. There is no need to seek blessings far away. Features change when the mind is kind. Karma dissolves when the heart is at peace. The Buddha taught that if you want to know a person's past life, look at what they are bearing today. And if you want to know a person's next life, look at what they are doing each day. Cause and effect never hurry, but they never overlook anyone. Some do not go to temples, do not recite sutras, do not hold great ceremonies. Yet each day they live uprightly, do not harbor anger, do not make others suffer, and do not use harsh words to wound others. Strangely, although they do not pray for blessings, blessings come. Though they do not ask for protection, heaven quietly guides them. The root of all appearance is the mind, and the root of all blessing is virtuous conduct. When the mind is bright, even a once careworn face gradually becomes gentle. When the heart is at peace, even a life once full of upheaval gradually turns light and clear like the sky after rain. When one lives with a good heart, features change over time, and karma melts away with each step of awakening. Practitioners do not need to display this or ask for it. They simply live well, stand firm in silence, and blessings arrive day by day. Features are not fixed. They change with every thought we nourish within. Some once wore scowling faces, cold gazes, and visages creased by anger and suspicion. But after passing through trials, hearing wholesome words, and truly wishing to live differently, their features gradually grow kind. Their eyes soften, their speech lightens, and even their gait becomes gentle. It is not makeup or surgery. It is that the mind has changed. When the mind changes, the features must follow, for features are the flower and the mind is the root. A person whose mind is often uneasy, whose heart is full of afflictions, quick to anger or to overinterpret, need say little. One can already see wordless traces of unrest in the eyes, the corners of the mouth, the brow and the chin. But when that person learns mindfulness, learns to pause before reacting, to take one step back when anger flares, to listen instead of argue, to keep silence instead of uttering hurtful words. Then gradually the features change. The brows relax, the forehead brightens, and the eyes become easier to behold. Some changes do not require long years, only resolve deep enough and a sincere return to oneself. From there, the outer things adjust on their own. In Buddhism, this is called cultivating the self, not by forcing oneself into forms, but by nourishing a quiet inner life. When the inner life is quiet, the body grows gentle. When the body is gentle, the features change. From expression to posture to gaze, every small detail is a sign that karmic habits are being purified. A kind heart needs no grand display. Simply live without scheming, without making anyone suffer, without resenting life, without blaming others, and the visage naturally becomes pleasant, and the countenance gradually takes on the aura of blessing. That is why, for some people, the farther they go in life, the gentler their faces become, and the more they are cherished. They have quietly cultivated themselves, nurtured their nature, and above all, guarded each word and thought every day. Features are not fixed, and neither is karma. All is the flow of cause and effect, whose source is the mind. If the mind is kind, then even if nothing stands out today, the features will flourish tomorrow. If the mind is quiet, then even if no change is visible today, life will soften tomorrow. If we persist in living well and living peacefully, not only will our features change, but our destiny will also turn a new page, lighter, kinder, and deeper in the light of blessing. Blessings do not need to be begged for, because they do not come from quick petitions, but are grown by how we live each day. One whose heart is kind and mind pure, even without great vows or resounding deeds, walks lightly, speaks wholesomely, and keeps thoughts that harm no one. From there, blessings naturally blossom. Blessings do not lie in lavish offerings or far-ringing bells, but in how we treat those beside us, how we keep our heart when things go against our wishes, and how we treat ourselves when disappointed or at fault. A person at peace is not so because circumstances are calm, but because they are already still within. A person with blessings is not so because they have begged for much, but because they live without squandering what blessings they already have. Blessings are like clear water. So long as they are not stirred by anger, jealousy, hatred, or ambition, that water remains still and clear. There are people who ask nothing for themselves, living only to ease the suffering of others, to avoid adding sorrow to anyone, to avoid harming anyone. With a single look or a single word, such a person, without asking, still receives blessings. Without waiting, peace still returns. This is blessing born at the root, not dependent on others' bestowal or on outward conditions, but arising from an inner life that knows how to live in accord with the way, with right reason, and with cause and effect. Those with a kind heart easily let go of what is not worth holding, easily forgive those who are wrong, and readily show compassion to themselves. One with a tranquil mind does not live by reflex, does not take advantage of others or inflict lasting harm, and does not let grudges linger within. Wherever such a person goes, they create a field of ease, and whomever they are with feels at peace. They do not try to attract anyone or assert anything, yet people are naturally drawn to them, for they carry a gentle light of blessing distilled from years of upright living, quiet and without complaint. Then something wondrous occurs. They do not need to seek blessings because they themselves are the source of blessings. They do not need to ask because goodness already lives in the way they move through each day. This is why some people feel lighter the longer they live, and the deeper they go into life, the more they feel protected. It is not that the world has grown easier, it is that they no longer resist it within. When the mind is pure enough, blessings come unbidden, like flowers blooming in season, like a cool breeze arriving at the right moment, like the morning light that needs no appointment, yet always returns. Those who practice goodness in silence are often the ones who quietly change their destiny. True blessing does not arise from display or proof. It arises from the steadiness of a good heart that needs no witness. Such people do not speak much about cause and effect, yet they live by sound principles. They do not proclaim virtue, yet they quietly do what is right. They do not wait for praise, and they do not need recognition. When someone is in need, their hand is ready. From such small deeds and seemingly anonymous acts, a wholesome energy accumulates little by little, pushing back misfortune that seemed imminent and untangling knots that looked impossible to undo. Some long to perform great feats to change their fate and to make noise so their names are recorded, forgetting that life is turned by small things, by one's daily attitude, and by very quiet choices. One who lives well in silence does not wait for the right moment and does not pin hope on luck. They take each breath as an anchor and each wholesome cause as a path. They need not react to gossip, and they need not justify themselves against careless misunderstandings. They know that destiny does not change through anger or argument, but through patience, virtue, and persistence in doing what is right, even when no one is watching. For this reason, the quieter they are, the more protection they receive. The less they scheme, the clearer their life becomes, and the less they nitpick, the more easily blessings pour in like water returning to its proper channel. There are people who never compete for anything yet, in the end, receive what others struggle to gain and cannot keep. There are people who walk their own path in silence, avoiding jostling and contention, yet they go farther than those who started loudly and restlessly. Blessing has ears, karma has eyes. Destiny has its laws, and cause and effect favor those who are quiet and steadfast. Such people do not need to chase luck, for luck is growing within the simple honesty of their lives. They do not wait for a good season, for they live each day as if it were a spring of goodness. Looking back, they see that the very days unseen and unknown were what quietly transformed their karma, moving them off the old road of suffering and onto a new one where no promises are required because light has already begun to shine. In the end, what is deepest does not lie in what we display, but in how we live quietly each day. Perhaps today, blessings have not yet arrived, features have not yet softened, and karma has not yet dissolved. If we keep a straight heart, live decently, do nothing wrongful and harm no one, sooner or later the quiet seeds will flower. No wholesome effort is ever wasted. No good deed is small in the eyes of cause and effect. Each time we choose not to be angry, we create less karma. Each time we choose patience, we preserve our store of blessings. Each time we choose to live slowly, think deeply, and avoid harming anyone, we plant a seed of peace for ourselves. Do not expect your features to change in a single morning. Do not expect karma to disappear through words of petition alone. Do not think blessings must wear an obvious form to be real. Sometimes it only takes the heart becoming a little lighter, the gaze a little softer, the words a little kinder, and blessings already have a place to flow in. Features gradually change when the heart no longer competes. Old karma gradually settles when the mind no longer resents. Destiny gradually improves when we live kindly in small things and are humble enough not to demand immediate returns, patient enough to walk the wholesome path without needing an audience. That is when the light begins to appear. There is no need to look far for blessings. Simply return and live a holy, gentle life. The mind will be at rest, the heart will be light, and this whole life will soften like a lotus in bloom. In a pond full of dust, once the lotus has opened in the heart, its fragrance of blessing and deep peace follows wherever we go. Some ask how to create blessings when they are poor, ill, or struggling day by day. The Buddha taught that giving is not only material giving, but also the gift of the Dharma, the gift of fearlessness, and the gift of the heart. One who has little can still give with a kind word, a wholesome intention, a forgiveness that asks for nothing in return. One who is ill can create blessings by not resenting life, not blaming others, and not adding to anyone's burden. One who is poor can create blessings by holding to honesty, living decently, refusing to do wrong out of hunger, and not abandoning principles because of lack. There are those whose hands have nothing to offer yet, whose hearts are full of love, patience, and peace, and who harm no one. They are creating blessings with every day and every breath, whether anyone sees it or not. There are those gravely ill in body, who vow not to be angry or to complain, who choose to live each day with a peaceful heart and wholesome thoughts. They are generating a vast energy of merit, for to pass through pain while keeping a good heart is a profound virtue. There are those so poor they lack enough rice to eat, yet they still give up their seat to someone more burdened and share their last grains out of compassion. Such blessings cannot be measured by money. They are blessings born from a compassionate heart. In hardship, if we do not sow further suffering, we are already preserving our blessings. In illness, if we do not give rise to resentment, we are already dissolving old karma. And in poverty, if we do nothing unwholesome, we have already accumulated new merit. Simply keep a kind heart, free of greed, anger, resentment, deceit, and any wish to make others suffer, and you are planting a seed of blessing. That seed may not bloom today, but it will quietly sprout in future causes and conditions. Do not wait until you have much before doing good. True blessing does not wait on circumstances. Blessing is born from each right choice made in the midst of adversity. If we live that way, keeping the heart unagitated and the mind unconfused, then not only will blessings come, but our destiny will gradually turn as well. There are people who are not given enough at birth, who grow up in want and spend their days worrying about food and clothing. Yet, they still keep something profoundly precious. They do not let poverty rob them of character. They do not use their suffering as an excuse to hurt. Others do not lie because they are hungry and do not fight because they lack. They live slowly and gently, keeping kindness like a small lamp burning in the night. Some live in cramped houses, eat frugally, and labor with their hands, yet still yield the better portion to the elderly and share with those worse off. They know their place, do not complain, and harbor no bitterness. To the wealthy, such things may seem ordinary, but to those in poverty, they are silent yet immense virtues. To keep a good heart amid hardship is already to create blessing. To preserve loyalty and affection amid struggle is already to plant wholesome causes for the days ahead. Blessing does not come from giving much, but from a heart that does not begrudge what it can give. The truly poor are not those without money, but those who have lost the capacity to love. If we can still love others and still feel our hearts stirred by someone's suffering, we are not truly poor. But if we let poverty make us numb, hardened, and cold, we lose not only possessions but also the precious good roots in our heart. Therefore, when poor, live even more uprightly. Each time we overcome the temptation of greed, each time we choose to keep goodness in a world of injustice, we preserve our own blessings. Perhaps no one knows what we have borne, endured, or sacrificed today, but heaven knows, earth knows, cause and effect know, and above all our own heart knows. That heart is the nursery where wholesome seeds are sown. Some remain poor all their lives, yet at life's end their children turn out well. Their household is harmonious, and they meet benefactors on the road. That is not accidental. It is the result of years of quiet harmlessness, silent goodness, and fidelity to right conduct in poverty. Blessing need not be great, only steady. It need not be loud, only persistent. Living so, poverty ceases to be frightening. Even with nothing in hand, within there is a sky-wide goodness no one can take away. Some sufferings do not appear as hunger or loss, but gnaw silently day by day at a weary body and a worn spirit. Illness not only hurts the body, it unsettles the heart, breeds resentment, and tempts us to abandon our innate goodwill. Yet precisely in such conditions, if we can keep a heart free of fury, hatred, and blame, blessings are quietly being born in each exhausted breath. Illness is karma, but how we face illness is new cause. If we complain and curse our fate, we feed rancor. The illness hurts not only the body, but wounds the heart. If we accept calmly and learn to transform suffering through understanding and love, illness becomes a special chance to return and mend ourselves. Some hurt every day, walk with difficulty, eat poorly, and take medicine constantly, yet they do not let any of this make their hearts unkind. They still greet others with a gentle smile, wait with patience without complaining, and softly guide their children to live rightly. For such people, blessing does not lie in a strong body, but in a steadfast heart. And that very steadfastness without resentment is the greatest source of blessing which illness cannot steal. Some carry grave disease and know their days are few, yet they live as if unafraid each day, thanking a body that is falling apart each day, apologizing to themselves for neglecting their soul for too long each day, turning toward what is wholesome with all that remains. Such people are cultivating even while bedridden. Though they speak little, they are planting wholesome causes. There are those whose illness is not severe but whose anger is great. They still complain about life, flare up over small things and live in fatigue and dissatisfaction. Others hurt so much they can barely walk, yet gently thank life for giving them the chance to return to the truth that the body is impermanent. Karma is result, and every pain is an opportunity to set down what has been carried too long. One who is ill and does not make others suffer is creating blessing. One who is weary and still thinks of others is increasing wholesome karma. One who suffers and does not sow more suffering is untying bonds of grievance from countless lives. So do not think that illness leaves nothing to be done. If the mind no longer hates and the heart no longer resents, if we can live a bit more clearly and gently, then blessing has already arisen in that very moment. When blessing is present in each thought, each word, and each breath that endures without hatred, then even if the body remains sick, life is already different. Even if the body is worn, the mind is already bright. That is the doorway to another destiny, where blessing begins to grow in the quiet of one who knows how to live kindly amid the pain of the hardest days. In the end, blessing does not lie in grand achievements, but in the way we live each day when no one is watching. We do not need wealth, health, or abundance. Any one of us can begin to create blessing from the very circumstances we are in. To be poor without resentment is a form of blessing. To be ill without anger is a form of blessing. To lack means and still keep a kind heart is a form of blessing. To be misunderstood and bear no grudge is a form of blessing. To shoulder suffering without letting the heart turn poisonous is the deepest form of blessing. In the way, blessing is not born from comfort, but from keeping the heart, even when keeping it is hardest. No one can steal true blessing because it does not lie in property or status, but in each wholesome thought we choose every day. And then, at some point after passing through days no one understood, and living quietly with goodness without need of recognition, we find a consoling truth: nothing was in vain. Heaven does not abandon the kind. Cause and effect do not forget those who quietly plant what is right. Blessing does not refuse a heart that still loves the world, even while it suffers. Therefore, even if today we are poor or ill-forgotten or misunderstood, so long as we do not let our hearts lose their goodness, blessing is surely on its way.